Do you feel like something is missing in your life? Well, author Sonia Riccati is here to help us find the true purpose for our lives. She is the author of The Law of Attraction, Plain and Simple, Create the Extraordinary Life That You Deserve. We love it when you stop by because there's all this positive energy around us. And that's because of you, because you are such a positive purpose.
Thank you.
In the past, Sonia, when you've come on the show, you've told us that you've got to be positive about yourself. You've got to make changes in your life. We all go through bad times. We all go through bad stuff, but we can change our outlooks, right?
Right, exactly. It's so important that if you are going through a difficult time in your life, to recognize that it's just part of the journey, and it's only temporary, and your greatest life is just around the corner, and there is light at the end of that tunnel.
So when you say something missing in your life, we always hear that, but how do you know if something is missing in your life, and how do you determine what it is?
Right. Well, I think the number one thing, I used to do a lot of life coaching in the past, and that's the one thing. It's like, I want to make a change in my life, but I don't know what it is. Or I just feel like something's missing. I don't know what that something is. I don't know, I feel like something inside me is just not working. I don't know what it is. And there's a really great way, I call it keep the end in mind. That's one of the steps in my book, actually. And keep the end in mind means keeping the end of your life in mind, right? And what that means is, at the end of your life, what do you want people to remember you for? Like, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Right.
And by figuring out what that is, you can then step back and realize that you maybe are not aligned with what your core values are. Finding out when I say keep the end in mind, and finding out how you want to finish your life or what legacy you want to leave behind. Once you know that, it's like starting at the end and then going backwards and then redirecting your path toward that. So one way that you can do that is, and this is going to sound a little weird, but you need to write your eulogy.
And a lot of us don't want to think about that, because
I
you
know.
think when you write your eulogy, you
sounds
think there's
negative.
something coming. Yes.
Okay. This is actually a very positive exercise, because the eulogy is, what do you want people to remember? Like, what, at the end of your life, what do you want people to say about you? And you sit down and, like, writing it in the third person. Like someone else is reading it out, like someone else is saying this. So if we say, Sonia made a huge difference on the planet and elevated all the people around her whenever she met them, and she was a great wife and daughter and all these things, and you write all these things out, and then you look at it and you say, well, what are my core values? Well, if I want to be remembered as a great wife or a great daughter or a great sister, then family is really, really important to me. So if I'm working 14-hour days and I'm not spending much time with my family, then I'm not aligned with my value, my core value of family. And so what does that mean? Something's missing. I don't know what that is. Well, of course, you're not living the life that you're not aligned with your core values of the way you want to live. Or if I say, oh, I want to, Sonia elevated lives of, all the people that she ever met. Well, making a difference is another core value, which is true. It is. I actually did this exercise several years ago, and it occurred to me that one of my core values is making a difference. And so, making a difference, I was working 14-hour days, I was working in the corporate world, and I didn't feel like I was making a difference at all. And I felt like something was missing. And then I realized, oh my God, I know what's missing. I'm not making a difference. And so the first thing I did was I went on a humanitarian mission, and that was filled, that little void was filled. So when I say keep the end in mind, figure out, how do you want to be remembered? What is the legacy you want to leave behind? And doing the eulogy will really help you figure that out.
It's so true, because I was going to say, how many people say, oh, well, so-and-so was a son of a gun. They didn't like being around people, and they worked 15 hours a day, and they were great at their job, but boy, he didn't spend enough time with his family. I mean, none of us want that.
Right. And so it's just an eye-opener. Like, when I did that exercise, I realized making a difference was a huge, huge core value. It's one of my top core values, along with family. And so when I realized that, I said, I need to readjust my life. How can I change that so I am aligned with my core values? So let's say you figured out you have 5 main core values, and then you realize 2 of them, you're not living aligned with your core values. As soon as you change that, figure out what those core values are, and change what those 2 that you're not living by, then all of a sudden everything falls into place and you feel completely fulfilled.
Is there a way that you could have both? I mean, what if you really love your job and you love your family? I guess it would just be trying to find that balance between the two.
Exactly. There's no either or. You can have it all. You can have it all. You just need to be creative sometimes to really figure out how you can have it all.
Now, Sonia, when we talk about, something's missing in your life, if it should be, say, your career, for instance, you're working a job you hate,
Right.
but you're working that job because you got to pay the bills.
Right.
You need food on the table. You need
Right.
to have the money for the house. What do you say to people then? Because they're really, that's not really their true purpose in life.
It's not their true purpose, then they need to create change in their lives, and they need to set a plan and figure out exactly what they do want and put a plan together of how they can achieve it. That doesn't mean you're going to go out and just quit your job and then you have nothing. I mean, okay, yeah, you're doing this, you still need to pay the bills, but then in the evenings maybe you go back to school, or you start your own business and get this passive income coming from your website, or whatever it is. You still need, it's easier for some than others, because if you have family and all these responsibilities, you can't just drop everything and make these changes. But you can make those changes slowly. You just need to think outside the box. A lot of people just give up and say, well, I have a big mortgage, I have this, I have that, I can't do it. So what, you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life just so you can pay the mortgage? Well, if you're that miserable, maybe you should look into selling your house and getting a little apartment and then just starting over and really starting your new career. You're only here once. This is it, right? And you want to live the greatest life possible. If you're miserable in your work and all you're working is to pay your bills, which means you're miserable in your life, then you need to make a change. You might need to make some sacrifices at first and take a couple of steps back, but sometimes you need to take a couple steps back in order to take miles of steps forward.
Right, and what's so interesting too is, listening to you and what you have to say is, you come into contact with so many people and you just don't know who the next person you meet, what they can do for you. And it could be this big change where you think afterwards, that's what I was meant to do.
Right, exactly, absolutely. And there's all kinds of opportunities all around you all the time. We're just so in that mental fog that I always talk about, and we don't recognize them when they're there.
Right, and it's tough too, because when you attend seminars or read your book, it's almost like you want them. People want to say to you, "Give me the answers, Sonia, right now. I need the answers. Who do I need to contact to get that true job?" But it doesn't come that easy.
No, but the answers are within you. The answers are within you. You know, really, if you really dig deep and you clear your mind, if you know intuitively what you need to do and what you should be doing. And once you're clear about that, you go out and set out that intention. When you go out into the world and live your life and start recognizing all the opportunities that are coming, they're landing in front of you. You're just stepping over them. You're stepping over them, going back to your old job and being miserable. The opportunities are there. You need to be just very aware and stop staring at the closed door. If you're miserable in your life and all you're doing is complaining, being frustrated, and feel really stuck, you're staring at a closed door. That's my metaphor all the time, is staring at a closed door. Stop doing that. Focus on what you do want. And as soon as you stop focusing on the negative and start focusing on the positive of what you do want, that's stepping away from the closed door. And it's like turning around and recognizing, oh my God, look at all these open doors everywhere, and there's opportunities everywhere.
And you are living proof of it. Now tell us about the Shift Project.
Yes, we have a Shift project that is launching March 10th, and it is an opportunity for people to shift their lives. We have a 21-day challenge audio program. We have something called Shift Talk Radio, where we're going to have all these interviews with these very high-profile self-help gurus and teaching people how to shift their lives, their finances, relationships in all different areas. Shift video and we have all kinds of things revolving around the Shift project, which is in phase 1. We have another phase a couple of months later, which is about corporates and corporations and shifting corporate cultures. And so the Shift project is really about shifting people, shifting communities, shifting corporations, shifting the world, really, in general. And people can actually go to www.shifttoday.com to find out a little more about the Shift project.
And change the way you think. Sonia, thank you so much. Sonia's book is called The Law of Attraction, Plain and Simple, Create the Extraordinary Life That You Deserve, available at bookstores. And for more information, you can visit www.leadoutloud.ca.